Matty, limited time, so I just want to ask you the big one first with the man sitting right next to you. He's about to set the record for most games of Australia ever coached. He's going to move in sole place, 59. What sort of coach has Arnie been for you across the journey?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt he's played a massive role in my journey as a footballer. Obviously starting out there in the Mariners days and having the belief and faith in me there in, my beginning and sticking with me. And he's obviously gone on to do, what I witnessed him do at the Mariners, at Sydney and then here within the national team as well. And, I'm obviously very grateful to have had someone like him, help me in guiding me through my journey so far as a professional footballer. And I try and say thanks in the best possible way by doing all that I can for, when I'm obviously selected within his teams and trying to play the best that I can for him and for the team to be as successful as we can be.
I'm sorry for doing this with him sitting right next to you, but and also Arnie has the chance to become the first ever coach to lead Australia into 2 consecutive World Cups at the end of this cycle, heading into his second now. What sort of evolution of the Socceroos have you seen as someone that's been there since the beginning of this group over the past 4.5, 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, the evolution I think is there within the results. It's obviously a results-based game, and we play this sport because we love it, and we have the opportunity to create lifelong memories. And the more successful we are, the better and more memories that you have. And I know for me and my life, there's nothing more purposeful than that, and dedicating and sacrificing my time towards doing exactly that. So, the fact that obviously we've gone on and we've done things as a national team that no other team has done is obviously an example of that. And yeah, we're by no means satisfied, and we've got, like I said, we've got our goals and we tick them off, and now we've moved on and we've got more goals that we want to tick off. And it's great to get this campaign, this World Cup and Asian Cup qualifying campaign underway again, and the journey starts again.
Matty, how are you feeling personally coming into this? You're playing regularly, you're informed generally. How are you feeling? Because that's not always been the case. Sometimes you have to come in Socceroos not playing a heap of football, but you must be feeling pretty confident.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I just try to approach each day as it comes. I give my all, whether I'm playing or not. I try and attack each day with everything that I've got to, put my best case forward to, try and be the best man for the job, or show that I'm the best man for the job. And at the minute, as I've always done, taking it day by day, but enjoying playing regularly at Alkmaar. Sort of landed in a good spot there, and some European football. And we're a team that obviously last season we finished in 4th place, and it's obviously early in the season so far, but we've laid a good platform to have another good season there. And like I said, enjoying my craft there at the minute, and trying to do all I can to create as many successful days as possible.
What does success tomorrow night look like? It sounds like it's going to be a game where the team will have a lot of the ball, maybe have to break down a packed defence, and it's mostly at the other end to you. But what are the expectations? What do you need to see out tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, we always focus on ourselves, and we've had great exposure recently in the games we have been playing. It's those sorts of games where being exposed to that level and against that sort of calibre of opposition, when the big tournaments come around, we want to be obviously equipped as best we can to be successful at those sorts of tournaments. And as a playing group and as individuals within the group, we've been exposed to that again in these games that we've faced in these friendlies recently. And now, moving on to, like I said, this journey now with these games unfolding. I mean, the games against the opposition at World Cups and whatnot, they don't come, or they don't become possible without first knocking over all the challenges that we have to face to get there. And having been part of 2 qualifying campaigns, I know that there's no easy game in football, and we have to give the respect to the opposition no matter who it is that we're facing. But it's all dependent on us and how we prepare, and the standards that we continue to maintain and continue to raise. And we've been obviously working hard since we've come into camp, and we're ready to go. And like I said, we'll probably have a lot more of the ball, and it's around us and our attacking patterns and the way we move it and how purposeful we are with it in creating the opportunities and being clinical. And at the other end, we can't be caught napping and switching off or anything like that. We need to be there to thwart any opposition attack that they're going to try and obviously hit us with. And across the board, I'm confident that we can go out there and do the job tomorrow night.
Matty, Adrian from Channel 10. Just one on team culture. Obviously, that word gets thrown around quite a lot, but being inside the camp yesterday and getting a feel for all of the boys, can you just take us into that, what the culture looks like in the Australian team, and then how that moves to on-field as well, particularly with some of the younger players that are coming in? How do you go about building and growing that culture?
Yeah, well, Arnie, it's been the catalyst in my experiences under Arnie to being the backbone of our team. I mean, when you go out on that pitch, first and foremost, there's no better feeling having 10 other guys around side you, and then obviously other squad members ready to come on off the bench, knowing that you got one another's back, whatever you're going to be facing, and yeah, it's obviously a challenging game, and you face plenty of obstacles out there, and there's plenty of ups and downs and whatnot, and to go through it with a group of guys knowing that we're all there on the same page and willing to do whatever it takes for one another to, like I touched on, create those successful moments as often as possible. There's no better feeling than that, and that's the foundation that we set. And then, like I said, the individual technique, the physical side of it, the tactics, all I feel are flow and effect from there. So I think to have that strong foundation and that strong core is really the cornerstone to what we stand for, as being the Australian national team and being an Australian, and it's vital within our group, and it's something that we constantly work on in order to keep it obviously as strong as we possibly can, and keep it working as successfully as it has done up until now.
And just to follow up to that, does that look like anything in particular? Like, are you doing anything inside the camp, whether it's messages, whether it's dinners, whether it's anything to build that culture, or is it just a natural thing that happens? How do you do that exactly?
Yeah, I mean, it's through the standards that we set as a team, the principles that we have, the characteristics that players have to, demonstrate when they come into camp, and then I think it's just sort of because all that is sort of set in stone, and it's been that way for a very long time, and obviously every manager that has come in has their own little twist and addition to that as well, and then you sort of just let things naturally take its path. And like I said, being Australians, we're all pretty easygoing, friendly types of people, and it's a balance between maintaining that, in the downtime, but when it comes to business and there's a job to be done, that we're all focused and professional on doing that first and foremost, and letting the good times roll. But one of the common words we use a lot is energy, and that's what we try and do out on the pitch. Energy, whether it's to chase down opposition, to whether we have the ball and we've got to move it quickly and get into positions to create goal scoring opportunities. It's something that is reflected heavily in our game plan, and the environment that we have around the place, away from the pitch as well, is a big impact on that, and what we can do on the day-to-day basis to make sure that that's a common theme within our training sessions and the matches when they come around, and we work on that quite often to keep that positivity around the camp.
Matt, I just wanted to ask you about your performances at Alkmaar. You've been playing really well at the moment. Statistically, you're one of the best goalkeepers in Europe. I just want to ask you, how is that going to affect your time at Socceroos camp, and do you think that's going to be beneficial to the game tomorrow night?
Yeah, playing regularly is always what a player wants to be doing, and thankfully since I've arrived at Alkmaar, it's been that, and I feel like I'm in a good place, and I'm contributing to the team there, and the results that we're having, and we've laid a good platform until now. But you don't win anything in November in a football season, so there's a long way to go, and it all means nothing if we don't capitalise on it from here until the end of the season. So very much we're in a strong position, but by no means content, always wanting to achieve more, and focused on doing all I can to do exactly that. But feeling confident and ready to help the team tomorrow night, deliver another win for our national team.
Hi Matt, Lockie from the Inner Sanctum. This week is the 50th anniversary of the first time that the Socceroos qualified for the World Cup. Has that been spoken in the team at all, or used in motivation in any way?
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned it. It's been the chit-chat around camp also, obviously it was a monumental moment, our first ever World Cup, and it set the standard in that regard, that that's what we want to achieve as a national team, and there's nothing better than making our great country proud and uniting it in football tournament like the World Cup with how special that it is, and we witnessed that again recently. And thankfully over the last few World Cups we've been managing to qualify, but now it's on to the next one, and the first step is tomorrow night, and we're doing all we can to be ready for that one and get off to the best possible start.
And of course, last cycle you weren't able to play as many matches at home as you would have wanted to due to COVID. Is it exciting that you just get to play in front of Australian fans a lot more this time around?
Yeah, definitely. It's not until something's taken away from you, that you appreciate how special it is. It's very easy to take for granted things, as we know in life, and playing away from Australia and playing away from home and the fans and obviously our friends and family within that as well is something that I don't think anyone's going to take for granted again. So, it's going to be special to be here tomorrow night, back here at Amy Park. We've had some great memories in my time in the team here until now, and looking forward to adding another one tomorrow night.
G'day, Matt. It's Ian from Reuters here. I just wanted to ask you about this whole process, this 40 to 48 team World Cup going forward. It's obviously a bit more margin for error there. Is that in itself a danger? You might think too far ahead, or a lot of Australian fans would probably think you guys will sail into that World Cup. But is there some danger in being complacent there?
First and foremost, there's no extra margin for error for us with our mentality. We treat it. There's no easy games in football. At least that's been my experience and the message that I try and share within the group as well. Our standards are what they are. It all focuses on us. You talk about respect for an opposition. On one hand, when you're playing, the mights of the opposition out there in the world, the Englands, the Germanys and all this, you respect them too much, give them too much time on the ball, they can punish you. And, to the contrary, you don't give enough respect to a certain opposition, you can get complacent and that can be just as detrimental. So by all means, myself personally, and the message that I try to share within the group is that we treat every game like a World Cup final. And for me and my experiences in the game until now, that's what helps me deliver my best performance for the national team, no matter who we're facing. And that's what I try and share with the playing group as well, with that similar mindset. And I'm confident we do that to the best of our ability. Then, these little things don't happen. And like I said, it all depends on us and the standards we maintain and we set and we try to raise. And that's not going to be an issue. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
I was going to say that's the best presser I've had.
Anna Harrington, Australian Associated Press. Arnie, just first up an easy one. How's the fitness of everyone heading into this game? Is anyone unavailable?
We've got one unavailable. Martin Boyle. He obviously he had the ACL injury last year. He had a bit of swelling over the last couple of weeks. He didn't play last Wednesday, played Sunday, pulled up well, but I decided to, after speaking to the clubs, the medical staff of their clubs, I was a little bit concerned that he wouldn't fly out to Australia, but he will be in Q8 for the Palestine game.
Yeah, anticipate him being available potentially to play a role in that Palestine game then?
Sorry?
You anticipate you'll be able to have him?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and it was just mainly down to obviously the fact that it was on the knee, that he had the ACL, the swelling, and the long flight that could have made his knee swell up again. So with the communication between my medical staff and their medical staff, it was the best thing to do was to leave him over in Scotland. He's training, I spoke to Montgomery, Nick, and he trained for 4 days with Hibs, and he'll join us as soon as we get across to Q8.
Joe Lynch, freelance. Hi, Artie. Obviously, the boys have been coming in drips and drabs over the course of the past week. Haven't had a lot of time on the track with them. Have you settled on your starting 11 for tomorrow night, or do you need to see them in one last session before you do that?
Yeah, no, I need to see them tonight. We had 13 players last night for training. That could do a 3-quarter training session. Some boys arrived yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, and it was just an active recovery. But tonight's the first time I'll be able to get the 22 players on the pitch, and get to see them. But look, we can talk about that all day long, but it's going to happen like that every camp. So it's the way it is. The most important thing for me is that they come in and they've got the energy straight away to play for the nation, and for them to come in and see their mates is crucial as well. And that's when I say that, mates, that's the rest of the boys, and because they've got great mateship, and they're always excited to see each other, and they can't wait to play in front of the Aussie fans and their families.
You talk about games like these against oppositions that are probably going to sit back, where you're going to have a lot of the ball. The boys need to show their skills, bring out that backyard football. I guess, how have they responded to that messaging when they've come into camp and you've told them that's what needed? And is it exciting for them that they get a bit of freedom like that?
Yeah, look, and again, it's we can practice the shape tonight for 10 minutes or so, and but it's down to the individual skill, and that's what I said to them yesterday. And I'm being honest with them, is that technically we're probably better, and physically we're better. It's about the mentality and the mindset of going into this game and showing everyone what our skills are and what we've got. And there's going to be plenty of times where we get in one-on-one positions and situations, and I want to see them go for it and be positive and get men in the box to score goals.
Hi, Coach. This is Rifat Masood from T Sports Bangladesh. First of all, congratulations. You're going to make a record tomorrow for that. As Matthew Ryan was saying, that it's all about them. It's all about Australia, but it's also a game between two teams. Have you had the time to analyze Bangladesh, or maybe what's your take on them?
Yeah, look, I've had probably 3 weeks, since they played the Maldives, home and away. And to watch what they do, one thing I will say is they've got great determination and great fight as a team. And, so obviously I've shown the boys today exactly what Bangladesh, their shape and how they play. And as Matty said, and that's a messaging that I drive all the time, is it doesn't matter who we play. We only have a certain amount of time in camp, and that is to focus on our jobs, but also we respect the opposition, and we do what we need to do to beat the opposition.
Hi, I'm Shafat Midul from Bangladesh. If we see that Bangladesh is far behind in the ranking, so how you take this?
It's again, we've set our own standards. It's a mentality and the mindset of going out there with that mentality to perform. When you put on that Socceroos shirt or the Australian national team shirt, it's about performing at your best, because you only get limited occasions or times to do that. So as soon as we go out there tomorrow night and we're playing for the nation, we treat every opposition the same. But again, it's more about our own mentality, and we put in a great performance to make the nation proud.
Graham, Braden Ingram from 9 News. Robbie Slater wrote in the papers today that after the exceptional World Cup you had, and the way things you went in recent games, particularly against England as well, and the quality of performance you put up there, that you maybe haven't had the reception you deserved as the Socceroos as a whole, compared to the Matildas, who have been rightly deserving of their reception, whereas it's almost been whisper quiet. Are you a bit disappointed there hasn't been more of a welcome home vibe for the Socceroos, given the way you've been performing?
I'll be honest, I didn't read it. I haven't seen it, and at the end of the day, that's Robbie's opinion. But for me, the game is, overall, men's and women's is growing. And I think that the respect that we get from, especially when we're in Europe, from other nations with what we did at the World Cup and what the girls did at the World Cup, a lot of nations are seeing that Australian football is growing.
One of the examples of that, I guess, is Nesseri Kunda signing for Bayern Munich. Can you just take us through your thoughts on him? Obviously, he's been part of the Socceroos camp before. Do you think we're likely to see him get a cap in the near future? And what is his potential? Like, could he be up there with the Cahills and Kuehls and Vidukas and those sort of types?
Yeah, but I think that's way too early to speak about that. If you talk about Harry Kuehl when he was 16, 17 years of age, it wasn't the Harry Kuehl that we saw at the mid-20s, late 20s. So, it's a pathway that Nesta's got to go on, and it's a tough pathway. But he's going to a fantastic club in Bayern Munich that really want to develop and help kids along their way. Nesta has great qualities, but at the same time, as I said, it's it's a pathway where he has to believe in himself. He has to work extremely hard, both on and off the field. And as I said, he's got the qualities, and I'm excited for the future for him. And no doubt, if the pathway goes right, we will see him in a Socceroos shirt.
G'day, Arnie. I was just wondering, in this match, obviously, there might be a temptation to blood a few youngsters and get some of the rookies getting some minutes. Is that something you really need to wait until the match is completely sewn up, or are you looking at some of that from the start?
Probably we've only really got one. When I say one rookie, is one player that's come into camp for the first time in Kusini, Yengi. The rest have been with me for quite a while, and that was the purpose of the last 8 months, was to help develop that pathway and get them ready for this World Cup campaign. But I believe in tomorrow night, putting out our strongest 11 at the moment and going out there and getting the job done. And then the full focus is then on Palestine and Kuwait.
Just going forward, do you need to have some newer, younger players coming through at this stage? Are you pretty happy with the best 11 that you've got?
Yeah, well, look, if I said to you how many players aren't here who are in Qatar, 17. So, it's how quick national team football can go. And I'm always been one that keeps my eyes open for not plan A for now. I always have the plan B and plan C for the future, because things can change very quickly. Did I expect Aaron Moy to retire at the time he did? No, I didn't. I thought that he'd go on for another 1 or 2 years, but this is the way it happens. And, we've got some older players that are still doing well, but again, plan C is, will they be there in 3 years' time? So I've got to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on that as well and preparing for that as well, just in case.
Just alluding to that, Matty was obviously just sitting next to you. Got a couple of younger goalkeepers that have been in form at club level. Are you anticipating Matty starts both these games, or is it one then one, or you change things up?
Matty will start tomorrow night, definitely. It's hard to say whether he'll start both games, because we've got to get through this first game first. But I said said it to you guys the other day. It's important you've got the right blend on the pitch, and that is, the young ones or inexperienced ones with senior players that have experience of playing World Cup qualifiers, knowing what it means, and that, rather than throwing on younger ones that don't have that experience, and making sure we get the mixture right culturally on the pitch.
Graham, you've touched on it a couple of times in terms of how you do want to play, but for the Aussie fans out there who can't wait to watch you, how would you encapsulate, right now, the message to the boys and how you really want them to play tomorrow night?
Yep. Show your skills, show your qualities. We're going to have the ball a lot and use it to the best that you can. And I use the word in camp a lot of backyard football. And backyard football is, come on, show the tricks, show the back heels, the flicks, and imagination. And I can't teach them that in 2 days. They've already got that.
And just one, I know you don't really like to focus on you breaking the record, but I read an article recently where you spoke about when you were coach for the first time as Socceroos and how much you've learnt now. I was just curious, in terms of where you're at now, what have you learnt? What do you know about the game now?
How much have you learnt being a media from 10 years ago?
A lot.
Exactly.
But is there anything that sticks out?
It wasn't a jab. It was.
No, of course.
It's life. I openly admit I wasn't ready. I did it to try and help the organisation at the time, and Dick Advocaat had already signed a contract and was ready to take over after Gusidink. I was in contact with Dick Advocaat about the team that he wanted me to take to the Asian Cup, and so it was an interim role that I just did to try and help the organisation while I was doing the Olympic team. But what I can say is what I learnt in that period, just that 12 months or 10 months, was probably the best lesson I could have ever learnt. I tried to be someone who I wasn't as a human being. I tried to be Gusidink and be hard and, all that stuff. And I'm not saying that on the man management side, but I honestly say that the boys didn't respect me as a coach those days. And they're right, because I hadn't done anything as a coach. And it was a real telling moment in time of that 12 months of, after I finished that Asian Cup, it was like, do I really want to be a coach? you know, with all the criticism and all that you get, then I started feeling if I really wanted to, and then I decided to myself I wanted to do it, and I had to improve because, you know, otherwise you don't last long in this industry. And as I said, if I reflect back today and reflect back to it, you know, I still remember clearly the results. You know, we lost. We ended up losing against Japan in a penalty shootout in the quarter-final, and we were a man short after 60 minutes. So we played 60 minutes against Japan and had a 1-1 draw and lost the penalty shootout, and obviously losing against Iraq 3-1 and that. And, you know, you still have those memories, but a lot of times you reflect back to those times and what I did those days that today you just don't do at all, especially with the new generation of people and the game.
Speaking to Mass this morning, and he talked about how easy coming back into camp has been for him because you basically said to him, just keep doing what you're doing at Ipswich, keep playing to your strengths there, and I'll adapt the system to you. I guess, how difficult is that for you to do? Because if you've got 11 blokes out there playing the way they already play, you're trying to assemble a jigsaw puzzle with 11 very different shaped pieces in it. How do you go about accomplishing that in a very short period of time?
Yeah, look, again, Joey, I think the most important thing is they're excited to get on the plane and to come and to get into camp with their mates. And then we have a great culture of mateship in between the players, and then with the staff, we're like fathers, right? We're there to help. It's their careers and their lives. But this is a part where probably a lot of people don't see what I do, in terms that I sit every Tuesday, Wednesday, watching the individual at their clubs. There's no use, I don't get the time, and there's no use me trying to bring Mas Luongo in, say, for example, how he plays at Ipswich every week. He's coached there for 48 weeks of the year to play a certain way, and he comes in with me and I try to change it in one day. It's going to confuse him, frustrate him, and you're not going to get the best out of him. So I sit and watch what he does, and I said the same to Kusuni Yengi yesterday. Exactly. I said, what do you do at Portsmouth? He told me. What do you do with the ball? What do you do without? Okay, just go do it. And at the end of the day, it makes them feel comfortable. Yes, it might not click. Everything might not work together that great all the time, but it's playing players to their strengths. It's, you know, as I said, it's like anyone, if I'm asking them to do a completely different role, so I've got to be on top of what they're doing at their clubs all the time to make sure that I'm putting that role. And again, you'll see, and you saw against England that where we played a bit lopsided, you know, with a left winger high and wide on the left, but on the right side we didn't have a winger. And that's down to the way that they play at their clubs.
Just wanted to touch on Kusini Yangi again. You've got him and Mitch Duke, who are two strikers with kind of different profiles. Are you looking at maybe using them both together, or would you just play one up top and maybe focus on Mitch Duke as he's been there around the squad longer than Kusini?
Yeah, look, I think it gives me a different option because, you know, you can play with 2 9s, 2 big number 9s, and, you know, I do think we'll have the height factor. That if we get some, you know, good delivery in the box, that we've got 2 big strikers, and you know that's important, and we can play a different way, and that's why again, bringing in players that play a different style and have different attributes can always help changing the system or changing our style.